Thanks for patience, everyone. A few little glitches. Well, these happen from time to time. It can be all sorts of things that cause them, but we're ready for our podium presentations. I'm going to not expect Rich to come on and talk to me now, but Rich, if you want us to crack on at any stage, just give us a buzz and tell us to move on. But I'm going to start with the third place driver, Oliver Gibson. Well done, Oliver. How are you? He's not there. I think in the mix. So we'll go to P2, Eric Axelson. Eric, I knew we were going to be talking to you at some point over the course of the weekend, and you're involved in the technical side of it as well. But that was a fascinating race to watch. You know, Jack managed to get away. You closed up. I think you got the fastest lap of the race. That's disappeared off my screen. But decent start for the campaign.
Yeah, definitely. These cars are brilliant fun to drive, and it's so nice to be racing Jack and Oliver again. Yeah, that was good. That was a good start.
A couple of moves to try and get into the lead, but Jack just said he had the measure of you.
Sorry, say again.
There was a couple of moves to have a go at the lead. You clawed the gap back, didn't you, to Jack in the later stages? But he just seemed to just have that little edge.
Yeah, I mean, we are so on the limit. I can tell. So you know, I could just try to go as fast as I can and hoping for him to do a mistake, but you know, he don't do any very often. So yeah, I had like one chance I think into the last corner. Maybe I should have waited to the straight instead, but yeah, I thought I'd try to surprise him. But yeah, that was my one shot, I think.
What have you done with the time off? Have you actually had some time away from the sim, or have you been doing other things?
Well, yeah, some time off the sim, but to be honest, spent like most of the time at work. So yeah, but still a break from sim racing, I guess.
That's good. Well, it's great to have you back. Well done on P2. We've got some more podiums to come up a little bit later on, but great to talk to you again, Eric. Well done, and we'll catch you a little bit later on.
Thank you, Richard.
So on to our winner. I'm just having a quick look at the panel. We don't think we have Oliver at the moment, but Jack Smith, we had a chat earlier on. That went to plan, mate.
Yeah, not bad at all, was it? Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a really good race. I had some good pace at the start. I think I got about a second and a bit on Eric, and then I made that one mistake going up the hill, and it cost me all the way down the rest of the track. And I'm like, oh man, that's gutting. But yeah, we kept it under control. I knew Eric was going to make a dive bomb at some point because I've got a feeling this track's going to be really hard to overtake at. So yeah, he made that move. I sort of expected it. So I just tried to get a really good exit, and that went to plan. So the final lap came around and just tried to keep it safe. And I think Eric was doing the same. And yeah, we crossed the line P1. So yeah, really happy with that. Let's see if we can do it again in race 2.
Yeah, good luck with that. To me, that race was one of those events that kind of illustrates why qualifying is important, because you're also evenly matched and you all made the most of where you were starting. And you know, everyone says, oh yeah, you know, I'm a good racer and this, that and the other, but that's the importance of qualifying, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think the fastest lap in that last race was 2,000ths difference. So I mean, that really sums it up, really, doesn't it? So yeah, it was really, really close. Eric and me were basically identical pace for the entire race. You know, ebbing and flowing between every single lap. So it was, yeah, it's tricky, but you just got to keep your head in it and just try not to make any mistakes, unlike what I did. So yeah, just got to make sure you can keep your head down. And yeah, now we've got to make our way through the pack, so it should be quite fun.
Yeah, I was just trying to work out how many more races there are to go in the championship. So 3 8 to 24, so 23 more races to go. It's the single step of the proverb, isn't it? You know, a journey starts with a single step, but you know, decent enough start. What's the target for the reverse grid races? What would you realistically be after?
Well, usually it is a full reverse, so it would be a lot harder than this. But reverse grid, as far forward as I can get, really. I don't want to be making contact, getting silly penalties and making silly mistakes and stuff. It's all about just judging your moves, and you know, there's no rush to get to the front. If someone gets lucky, they get lucky, you know. So it's yeah, it's one of those. So I've done enough in VRRC now to know what these reverse races are like. So yeah, we just got to get on with it, get a good start, try not to get involved with anything, and yeah, we'll see how it goes from there.
Okay, well, thanks for chatting. Well done on taking the win. So our first winner of the campaign. So your name goes down on the sheet as being our first winner, which is great, and first pole as well. We'll see what happens in race 2. Jack Smith, many congratulations.
Thanks, Richard.
We've got 5 minutes or so before we get to the next race on the countdown. If we can get our third place driver, Oliver Gibson, that would be quite good if we can get him dragged in, if that's possible. Rich is busy in the background sorting stuff out as well. But gives us a chance to think about for the drivers anyway, getting their head round moving out of the sprint race format and starting to think about how they're going to approach the longer half-hour race, which is, as you heard Jack say in his interview, is more akin to the endurance racing that they're doing. And I'm going to ask a question for Alicia. What's your view on? Obviously, you've only been involved in short, sharp races thus far in your career with the Ginetta Juniors and the F4s. Single-seater ladder is obviously where youngsters want to go. And, you know, we're starting to see females making a proper impact, a really good impact in the sport now. But equally, we are in endurance racing. So I'm guessing you're going to be focused on single-seaters, but not averse to doing endurance at some point?
Not at all, no. Obviously, I'm on the single-seater ladder at the minute, and I will be staying on the single-seater ladder for next year. But long-term, I mean, who knows? You often see drivers jump around, particularly from going from single-seaters and falling back into GT cars and doing endurance, such as how many XF1 drivers do you see do Le Mans, for example? So, no, I'm a big fan of endurance racing. I think it's a huge skill. And also, while we're just talking about that, I just want to say how much respect I've got for sim racers in general, because I think it's such an underestimated skill. Because they've got sort of no sensation of the car moving at all around them. There's no G-forces like you would feel in the real world in a real car. So they've got a great feeling of the car through the force feedback on the steering wheel via the hands. So I just can't believe how amazing it is, really, that how quick these drivers can do, how consistent they can be. And it's actually really realistic as well. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have a sim at home, and it's really great prep. It's very similar to the real world, and it's a world that's improving as well and getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, I'm just really happy and really excited to be watching all these guys and see how they're getting on.
It's great that you come along, and thank you again for joining. We haven't been rude about each other that much yet, have we, so far? But we probably
not
can
yet.
do that.
I'm waiting. I'm building up.
What sim rig and setup do you have at home?
Oh, you're asking me technical questions now. I'll panic.
You've got a steering wheel and some pedals.
I do, yeah, and a seat and a screen. No, I've got a SimuTube wheel. So it's a pretty good setup, to be honest. I don't actually do much sim racing myself. I racing as such, like competitively, like these guys do. I do it more in terms of track preparation, learning new tracks, and just driving by myself, really working on consistency and technique. You can download all the data from the laps that you do on the sim, so it's very realistic. You can really simulate real life really well. But yeah, I do need to get involved in racing more myself, to be honest, because it just looks so fun and so exciting. So yeah, it's something that I'll definitely be getting involved in.
Let's get you in for a guest race with VRRC at some point. I think that's.
Oh no, I'll be shown up by these guys. They're too quick.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the first one I was working on with these was the we had a mixture of real life races and sim races during lockdown with the JCW Mini Championship, and yeah, I mean, it was some of the sim guys were just that much quicker, which was pretty impressive. Is there a circuit, by the way, that you haven't raced on that you've gone on the sim because it's one that you really want to do?
Oh, that's a really good question, and there'll be loads, but none that I can think of right now. To be honest, I know it sounds really cheesy, but I think this track looks really awesome. Like, I've never even actually heard of it before I knew I was doing this commentary. So that made me look it up on the sim, do a few laps, watch them on boards, and it just looks so cool. I really love fast flowing circuits, really momentum built. So I think it'd be really cool. And also Nurburgring, to be honest. My dad's been there before. He absolutely loves it there, and he's been on about for years that he wants to take me, and we should both go and do some laps. So hopefully that can happen at some point in the future. Yeah. So I'd say those two, really.
That's good. Make sure you get around the Nordschleife as well, the full 14-mile.
Yes. Yeah.
Pre-war one, as well as the Grand Prix circuit days as well.
One advice, one bit of advice for the Nordge life, Alicia, is don't time yourself.
Got it. Noted.
Yeah, I did it in MGB, believe it or not. We went on a thing called the MG Euro Tour, which I think Scott Bugner will probably be familiar with. But we went over, mate had an MG, and we went over there. He drove an MGA, and I drove an MGB GT. Fantastic circuit. And you just have to go on the carousel, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Even though I wasn't really fast enough, as you can probably imagine. That was something else. We've got 30 seconds coming up for the race. Thanks, Rich, for that. And thanks for the little chat there, Alicia. We've got so Harry Ormerod on pole for this one. So Adam Lyle next up, then it is Christian Gillian, followed by Lee Piercy, Paul Lamry, Chris Blakey, our race winner. All the way back. Lights are on, so we are very nearly ready to go. Lighting sequence is underway. Expect maybe a little bit more contact as they go into turn one. That tends to be the way on the VRRC racing for reverse grids. Ormerod in orange. From pole, the Jaeger bomb gets a great start. Adam Lyle was maybe a little bit slower than I thought. That Thomas Potter having an issue at the back, maybe. But it is very crowded. It's 4 wide as they go into turn one, which, as you say, Alicia, tightens up. But it's Lee Piercy that comes through in the lead from Christian Gillian in P2. Scott, where's Scott Bugner come from? He's third or fourth now. That was incredible. From Scott, who was right up at the sharp end of race one. Oliver Gibson up into fifth. Sorry, Alicia, I spoke over you there.
No problem. Oh, is that him again? What's going on there?
That's Eric. Yeah, he's got a problem, hasn't he? Yeah, well spotted.
Oh gosh, and Jack's made quite a good start. He's gone up to 7th, so he's managed to keep his nose clean, which obviously Eric hasn't managed to do somehow. We don't know what happened there, but that could be crucial for the championship. We'll see.
Yeah, could well be. A little bit of a shock there. So Eric could possibly find himself towards the front. Remember, it's based on the points, the race 3 grid in reverse. So that's going to be interesting to see where Eric winds up. He might be a little bit nearer the front, so it could play into his hands. Same points for the race, but Lee Piercy is out front at the moment with Christian Gillian in P2 coming under pressure from Chris Blakey in the mix there as well. You can see the silver-fronted, gold-backed car of Scott Bugner and Oliver Gibson up there. Shame we didn't get to talk to Oliver after race 1, but hopefully he'll grab another podium here and we'll get the opportunity to break the duck as far as talking to Oliver Gibson goes, because he's teeing up the inside run here, coming down into turn 1 and makes it through, but then slightly quicker run. And the car on the outside, Oliver Gibson dropping back now down behind Scott Bugner. So Scott is there. We've got Adam Lyle. Then it's Jack Smith in 7th position, Paul Laramie and Andy Dorman 9th, with John Jones completing the top 10 at the moment. Quick shout out as well for Daniel Heaps, who's done well. He's up in 11th position at the moment. Thomas Potter down in 15th. So Thomas, I think, still not having a particularly happy round. But as we said, plenty of time for them all to sort themselves out. As we look at Daniel Heaps having a good run, the 14-year-old. Great to see these youngsters coming in. A really good way for them to get some racing experience. Don't know if Daniel's doing any of the scholarships that are coming up. I think only still 3 scholarships. Jam Sport aren't doing their junior one anymore. They've gone senior this year, but it'd be great equally if there are any youngsters watching that I don't think it's too late to enter the school. Probably too late to enter the Ginetta one now, which is usually sold out, but come and have a go at the BRSCC one. It'd be great to see up at Brighton in half term. Side by side there with Lyle, Smith and Laramie. Laramie in the car with the lime green flashes on it. And Paul looking to make up this 7th position. Lee Piercy still out front from Chris Blakey. Scott Bugner in P3. It's where we used to see Scott, isn't it, up on a podium. So Laramie has a look around the outside. But race 1 winner in P7 at the moment. Back with Daniel Heaps, who's having a good run here, coming under pressure from the recovering Eric Axelson. Daniel doing a good job there, Alicia. He was very aware of where Eric was and gave him room.
100%. They've got great spatial awareness. I mean, obviously it's harder when you're on a sim as well, because you can't just look to your right or left. Obviously, you've not got that visual surrounding around you. So So it's really great prep for them. But also, I've just been looking at the lap times. Lee Pearcey out front, he's absolutely flying. He's just set the fastest lap of the race, half a second quicker than anybody else. So he's really taking advantage of that lead that he's currently got. But having said that, actually, Chris Blakey in second has just set a purple sector 1. So we'll have to monitor that gap and see if he manages to close in.
Yeah, we're a third of the race through already, and Lee Pearcey, no stranger to winning races, and he'll be happy to be back in the BMW from Chris Blakey and Scott Bugner in third place. Oliver Gibson now is in P4, and Oliver goes side by side here, challenging hard. The second place car, Scott Bugner, going through past Chris Blakey now, so Bugner up into P2. Lee Pearcey's still there at the moment. Jack Smith with the fastest lap now, 1:27.310, down in 7th place, trying to close up on Adam Lyon at the moment. They're just towards the back of your shot there. We'll see Smith looking to try and pop through on the inside. So Pearcey, Bugner and Blakey. Oliver Gibson is in 4th at the moment, just under the 10 minutes remaining of this second sprint race. It'll be fascinating when we get into the pit stops, and we'll talk more about that when we get on there. But there is Oliver Gibson. So Oliver in 4th place with work to do to try and close up and ultimately pass the race leaders. Back to Jack Smith. Jack busy putting a little bit of pressure on Christian Gillian here. The reverse grid race, though, really good for the people that haven't had the experience of starting off the front, the opportunity to get a little bit of the limelight and have a go off the front there, Alicia. And here he goes round the outside.
Definitely, it's a completely different ball game starting from the hold on, he's Jack going up the inside there now. He's got a good run. I think he's playing quite a sensible game actually. He's obviously going for it, but being considered as well. He doesn't want to have a DNF or drop to the back of the order, and he's managed to make that move stick. So good job from Jack making progress. Is he up to 6th now?
5th place now. He's got
5th now.
Yeah,
Awesome.
We're going to have a relative battle soon, or are we? Because Oliver Gibson ahead of him is busy having a look at Chris Blakey, so he's keen to keep a car between himself and his rally. So we'll see whether that does maintain, as Lee Pearcey's still there from Scott Bugner. Scott trying to get the gap down 7/10. It will vary as we go, unlike the sort of TSL timing we get, where you get a point at the end of the lap. This one will vary as we go through. But Oliver Gibson closing up on Chris Blakey now, and making very good progress. As you can see, Jack Smith has got sight of Oliver Gibson's car ahead of him, and Gibson will be slowed down a little bit. He won't be necessarily, it's not being blocked, but it just slows his progress a little bit before he can make the move, and he's looking a little bit tighter on some of the corners. But Chris Blakey's doing a grand job here, Alicia.
100% he is. It's always interesting, I think, to see a driver's mentality of whether they want to work with the driver in front, because obviously when you've got two drivers that work together, they actually can go quicker and catch the guys in front. But it looks like in Oliver's scenario, he's just trying to make up as many positions as possible, so he's not really using that mentality, I don't think. But yeah, I think he's flying as well. Oliver, he's set the fastest lap of the race there. 27 dead, and yeah, what's that? Sorry, Lee, is Rich.
Got a change for the lead. Rich Hayden pointed out there. Scott Bugner's gone up into lead position. So Scott, he'd be absolutely delighted if he can get this campaign underway with a win. Reverse grid sprint race or not, a win is a win, point to point, and he's out there ahead of Lee Pearcey now. Is Scott Bugner, seemingly equally as adept in real world drivers, is in front, real world and virtual. So Scott Bugner there. And had decent handy points, didn't he, in race number 1. So this could very much be a good building block for a championship campaign here. Bugner the leader, but isn't it great to see the top 4, the top 5 cars all in shot together? That's what we want to see from the racing. Bugner, Pearcey, Gibson, Blakey and Smith all very much in shot, and still 6 minutes of this race to go, so it could pan out any way possible. As we get another change there, Oliver Gibson now suddenly is up into second place and is going to have his sights on Scott Bugner. This is a great charge, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think Oliver's obviously got great pace. I think if he can just clear and get some clear air, then he'll definitely be chasing down Scott and be looking for the win. But it's whether he can just break away. Is he still in second there? Is he? Yes, he is,
Scott
isn't he?
Bugler was, yeah, Oliver Gibson, yeah, second
Yeah,
position.
Oliver's
Best
still
lap
second, yeah, so-
1:27.03. It's not a lot in it. It's hundredths of a second in terms of best laps between the two. So it might be a bigger ask for him to close in, I think, yeah.
Definitely now he lost a lot of time there battling. So we'll have to see now that he's got clear air whether he can get his head down and set some purple sectors. But having said that, as you say, mentioned on that last lap, Scott got a purple sector too, so he's played as well. Don't count out Jack Smith either. He's just at the back there. We'll see what he can do. He's actually got the fastest lap of the race at the moment by is that 7/10? Yeah, he's quite a long way up the road in terms of lap time. So see if he can make any headway and get through.
Yeah, that's a good spot, Alicia. Good spot. Yeah, very, very quick indeed. Quick question for you. What's your preference, chaser or being chased?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it depends. It definitely depends the scenario and the track massively. But chaser, I love chasing. I think you feel very vulnerable being the defence. Love chasing. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, hopefully you won't have too much chasing to do in your new season, and yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It depends. I love chasing, but then if I'm chasing because I'm in 15th, I don't like chasing. So.
That's absolutely fair enough. So Bugler, Gibson, Piercy, Jack Smith in fourth. Is he going to get up onto the podium? We might end up with a hat-trick of Jack Smith interviews before long. And if we do it on the main race as well, he's going to be very, very happy with the point. So Smith having a look at Piercy here. Slices down the inside. Lovely, clean move. That was smooth, wasn't it? Jack Smith up into third place.
Awesome stuff from Jack. Jack's just started a coaching service, hasn't he, as well, for other sim races where he can... I've noticed in the last few days that's been announced, and we've got another move there. Who's that, Richard? You'll know better than me.
Yeah, that's Chris Blakey, isn't it? On the inside of...
Gone through, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack's got great knowledge, great experience. I actually know Jack from a couple of years ago. He used to work at SimTrack, which is a simulator facility in the Ginetta factory in Leeds.
Oh, right.
So when I started working with Ginetta back in 2020, 2021, Jack was actually working at SimTrack. So I know him from a few years ago. Not spoke to him for years, but he's very, very knowledgeable and very experienced. So that coaching service that he's providing, that'll be very, very useful for anybody that wanted to take that, I'd imagine. So, yeah.
So did he actually coach you in SimTrack as well?
He did coach me a little bit alongside James Kellett, but he was mainly sort of doing all the techie stuff on the sim, stuff that scares me. That's how I know that he knows his stuff a lot. But yeah, no, it was great working with him, and that was many years ago. So I'm sure he's grown even better and stronger now. Another purple sector one on this lap just alone, so he's absolutely flying.
Yeah, I saw Kellogg's at the weekend as well. He was a very quick, fleeting visit. I think he's coaching some of the Carrera Cup drivers. But we've got Adam Lyle here. Adam's he's a very, very quick lad, is Adam Lyle, but just found himself, I don't think he's had too much luck so far today. And he's working really hard at the moment to get into the top 10. Daniel Heaps there. We're getting heaps of coverage, aren't we, to use a pun? Nobody ever laughs. Alicia's never laughed at my jokes, but then again, I suppose they have to be funny if you have a laugh. But there we go. And Daniel Heaps is passed ultimately by Adam Lyle. He's got a big gap to close up on Andy Dorman, who'll be his next target. Back meanwhile, we go to what is now battle for the lead, and we can see we've got the two team cars chasing in. So Scott Bugner under a little bit of pressure. This is going to be a mouth-watering last couple of minutes here. Scott Bugner under a little bit of pressure. All of these guys have worked hard and made their way up through the field, so they've done the business, but they've still got more to do.
Yeah, and we've just got coming down to 2 minutes on the clock left, so I'd imagine we've got 2 laps remaining. Oh, and he's made a little mistake. He's gone a little bit wide there, so he'll be on the back foot a little bit now. Exits are very important here, especially with the elevation changes. You know, coming out of the final corner onto the start-finish straight, it's quite uphill, so it's really important to get a really good run so that you're not vulnerable into that turn 1 braking zone.
Yeah, very tricky stuff indeed. Now, is it going to affect the dynamics here? The fact that we've got third place chasing second place chasing first. They're all going for their own little bit of tarmac, but at the moment it looks like Jack Smith is on the offensive and he's on the outside run here as they come down the main straight. 1 minute 41 on the clock, 2 more laps to go by my reckoning. And Oliver Gibson's still there at the moment. This could take a wee bit of pressure off Scott Bugner out front as they go downhill and into a little bit of a corkscrew here almost, isn't it? That type of effect that we saw at Laguna Seca in the TCR round. You didn't, Alicia, because you weren't with us for that one, but another circuit that's worth a visit. And super racing here. Can Oliver Gibson hang on to P2? He's got to keep one eye on the mirror. This is a difficult situation, isn't it, when you're the meet in the Sarnie?
You've just beat me to it. That's exactly what I was just about to say. Oliver being in the middle there, he's obviously attacking, but also well defended.
You'd say meet in the butty, though, wouldn't you, from where you're from?
Say again?
You'd say meet in the butty, not Sarnie.
I've got no idea what you're on about. Is this because
you don't have
again?
You don't have butties? I thought you had butties rather than Sarnies.
Oh, I do. I'm with you. I do.
Yeah.
It looks like Oliver's on the back foot a little bit now. Jack looks a little bit closer. He might have made a little bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, I think he did. This very often happens, doesn't it, where you've got the three-way scrap, and Scott Bugner's going to be, I think, a little bit grateful for the fact that pressure, well, it was off, but it's coming back now because Oliver Gibson is gaining a little bit of momentum. I'm wondering whether Jack Smith would think, yeah, if I just take my foot off the gas, let's let first and second sort them out, and then I can get back in and stuck in too. But Chris Blakey's not far behind as well. It's a good drive here from Chris Blakey in fourth position, hasn't been left, and he's still there and can pick up some pieces here. He's certainly on for some decent points, but this is very good from our top four.
Yeah, Scott will be frustrated as they cross the line with 20 seconds to go there, so he'll be really like wishing on for that checkered flag. Although Jack's had a really good run there, he's come back into the party, so it really could be any one of these top three or even four at this rate. So this will be an exciting couple last corners.
Yeah, it's good stuff from our second sprint race, and it's going to be a nerve-wracking one for Scott Bugner, who hangs on at the moment from Oliver Gibson. The three of them following. Chris Blakey is still there or thereabouts in fourth position, hasn't given up the ghost yet. Lee Pearcey in a strong fifth, then Paul Laramie. Eric Axelson's got himself back into a decent points position in seventh from Christian Gillian, who's had a good run now, but we've got a challenge on for second position as Jack Smith looks to the outside as they come downhill. That was optimistic. The yellow mirrors of Jack's car, the pink side facing us on the outside. And this again could free up, or is it? No, we've got a challenge for the lead as well. Gibson's going for it, runs a little bit wide, and Smith looking to try and get up the inside, but Scott Bugner's still there at the moment as they come down towards the flag. Gibson in P2, but it's going to be Scott Bugner that takes the win from Oliver Gibson. Jack Smith, what a last lap we had, exactly as Alicia said we were going to, with Chris Blakey in fourth from Lee Pearcey, Paul Laramie in sixth position. Eric Axelson is in seventh. Across the line goes Eric, with Christian Gillian having a good result in eighth place from Andy Dorman. Then Adam Lyle in 10th place, so he kept his top 10. That was hard work for him. Thomas Potter did well to come through from a lowly position up into 11th place, ahead of Daniel Heaps in 12th, Olivia Krishnovska in 13th from Kenny Press, and then it was Harry Ormerod, followed by Alex Walker in 16th. Still waiting for a few drivers to just make their way across the line. But, well, two races, two different winners. We'll catch up with the second of our winners and hopefully our two podium men after this short message. Message from Evnia. Thanks to them for their support, and we are on to our podium. I've only got just over 3 minutes to chat, so very quickly, Jack Smith, well done, another podium and a frenetic last lap, Jack.
Yeah, that was a bit something, wasn't it? I was pretty intense in the last corner. I misshifted down to second. I was like, oh no, I ruined my run. And then Nolly got back past me, and I was like, "Ah, no, let's go in." So yeah, we tried it. I was trying to not make contact with my brother. That would have been a bit chaotic. So yeah, I was just trying to leave him as much room, trying to make sure that Chris wouldn't catch up to us as well. And it was a bit chaotic towards the end. But yeah, that's the kind of racing we love. I don't think we've had a finish like that in a while, so it was really good.
That's a cracking finish and a good race as well. But decent points, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, really good. That's exactly what I wanted. I got quite lucky at the start. It was a bit of a kerfuffle at turn one. Good word. But yeah, I just got lucky. I went around the outside and had to jump over the curb a little bit. Just barely stayed on the track. But yeah, we got through it, and yeah, just had to chase everyone down. Then making some good moves to get up to P3. Yeah, taking some nice points and fastest lap, which is another 3 points, I believe. So yeah, really happy.
Fantastic, well done. I'm going to move quickly because we've had a quick chat with you already. I haven't spoken to Oliver or Scott yet, so well done, Jack. Thanks very much. We have got time. Okay, we can have longer time then with Oliver Gibson, P2. Well done, Oliver.
Cheers. That was a bit intense, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Good race, good finish at the end of the day. So decent points. Thought you were going to nab the win off Scott, but it changes the dynamic, doesn't it, when you're being hassled? And what's it like from, in your head, from your perspective, when you are being chased and chasing? Does it change your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, you tend to look in your mirror a lot more, so I try and avoid mirror driving. So you're just staring in your mirror, hoping that nothing happens. But my eyes were just I keep focus on Scott because I knew he's going to put up quite a mighty defense, and he did. So that was where my focus was. But I tell you, my focus was in my foot. I had a very near crashing at the first corner. Well, not first lap. I don't know what lap it was, but it was the first corner. I got cramp in my foot. I was like, "Oh, I'm
no!"
Wipe everybody out." But no, I managed to avoid. But yeah, so it was an exciting race at the end. But yeah,
has that happened before? Have you had cramp before?
Yeah, it's more my toes really. I don't know what happens. I think I slip off the pedal and then it goes. I don't know, no idea. But it has happened before. It's not very nice, but it goes quite quick, so it's all right. It's a bit like Verstappen at Abu Dhabi, if you've heard that story.
I'll be honest with you, I have got so many motorsports that I have to keep up with. I don't get into the detail of F1, but he had the same thing, yeah?
Yeah, when he had the championship, right, the 2021, when he did that move on Lewis on the last lap, he had cramp in his foot, so he was knocking his leg against the car on that back straight. So that's when I always get cramp, I think, oh, I'm like Max Verstappen, but in reality, it's far from it.
It's certainly good company. Alicia's busy making notes in her driver's book of excuses to carry that one forward, I think.
Yeah, thanks for that, Oliver. Thank you.
No problem.
So we were going to do a book of drivers' excuses for a Christmas publication one time. We've never got around to it, but yeah, that's not good. I must admit, I get cramps sometimes. Usually, it means I've been walking around too much, done too much on the step count, not enough water and stuff like that. But how much practice have you done? Could it be a practice-related issue?
I don't know. It's probably just me being a bit silly. I don't know why. I have my feet quite high on the pedals. I know it's quite bad, but yeah, I have my feet quite high on the pedals. So, but I've done quite a bit of practice, and I really dislike this track. I know the results say otherwise, but I really dislike it.
You had momentum in qualifying because you were down in, I think, 5th or 6th place in qualifying. The last lap, you punted Scott off 3rd place on the grid. So it's clearly one where you were developing the more time you were spending on it.
Yeah. It's a tricky one. I really like the idea of the track. Like, the elevation is really cool. It's just the lines I can't quite get my head around. But it's something to have a look at and try and fix it.
And location-wise, are you in the same geographic location as your brother, or are you in separate places?
Funny you say that, he's actually in the garage.
Oh, is he?
So yeah, so it's gonna sound a bit weird, but I'm in the living room on my rig, which a lot of people are like, why is it in the living room? But Jack's in the garage, so I could go out.
Do you draw lots for that, or does he have to stay out there?
No, he stays out there.
Well done, mate. Really good to finally get to have a chat with you because we missed you on race one. Well done on the podium for race one as well. So two decent results. So good stuff, and best of luck for race 3, for the main race.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Nice and good to chat to you. And Oliver, one of the drivers that came and spoke to us at Croft, as I mentioned in the commentary. So if you're at a track that I'm at do come and say hello. Always really pleased to meet people. Haven't met this fella yet, Scott Bugler. Well done. Congratulations on the win. Whatever it is that I'm commentating on, you're always at the front. And seemingly now, always grabbing a win at those ones. That looked like a tricky race, though.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. Rear-wheel drive is not my forte at all. It's just not me. But and I've done hardly any practice. But yeah, I think I just got a good start, and it kind of fallen into my hand to coming out of turn one and got up to, I think, third or fourth, and kind of Mr. Blakely left it. I think lost it into the gravel, and it made it a bit easier for me again, and just kind of tried to pick my way through where I could.
You have to take the results where you can, but you stood up to a lot of pressure in the later stages of that one too.
Yeah, I made a mistake and just clipped the grass and or the gravel, and Ollie and Jack and just were on me within seconds, and then I thought, oh, I've just made my life a lot harder for the next 10 minutes. But no, it was good. I enjoy sort of being under pressure and defending. I quite like doing it, to be honest. I'd rather attack, but I don't mind defending.
That's good. Yeah, we were having that debate with Alicia about, what drivers prefer. I think for me, if I'm out in a cart or something like that, if I'm in front, it's hopeless because I'm just worried about, someone coming up behind and can't deal with that. But no, really good job. And say the attacking in the first lap took the opportunity as well. And a win. This is a difficult grid, isn't it? There's so many good drivers in this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, every time I see that Jack and Ollie have entered, I know it's going to be even more difficult than what it is when you've got half the grid with the other guys like Eric and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it was. I didn't think I'd get a win this early on, but I'm sure coming from the back in this one might be slightly more difficult.
I guess you're not going to tell us what the strategy is, but it's an interesting premise, isn't it, going into this one? It's a very large pit window as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a very large pit window. I mean, I've done, I think, one or two of the practice races that were done, but I just couldn't seem to get the pit stops right. So this is probably going to be a nice drop race for me, maybe. But yeah, we'll just see. I'm just going to sort of do my own race, maybe follow Jack and see where we can go from there and see how it all pans out. But just a quick shout out: my dad's mobile number is on the front wing of my car. He has told me that if I can sell a car off of his forecourt with his number on my wing, because of that, he'll pay for my next race entry. So if anyone wants to buy a car, ring that number and he will sell you a car, and I will get my first round next year paid for me.
Do you know it off by heart? Because I can sort of see it from here. We've got to S car. What does S car stand for?
S car, it's Sean. His name's Sean, so it's S car. And his number is 0785 000 8588.
8588. I think it's the 88 bit at the end we can't see. So get yourself down if you're in the market for a car. Any good stock at the moment?
You know what? I haven't been round this for a while, which I'll get moaned at for, but I'm sure there'll be a couple of Robin Reliance or something on the driveway. I'm not too sure.
What sort of level is Sean's stock normally?
A bit of everything, really. He's had from Range Rover Sport to first time cars of little Kia Picantos and things like that. So very very varied. Just depends what he can get in at the time. But yeah, he normally has a good stock of cars on him.
The important thing to know is, where is he based?
He's based in a place called Huntingdon, which is in Cambridgeshire. Called Escar Saltry Way down there. But yeah, it's not too far. It's quite central of the country, which is quite lucky for us because we're quite central to all the tracks. So it's quite nice.
Excellent. There you go. Had a good plug. The other one I was going to ask about was Dalrod. So do they sponsor you in real life as well, Scott?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. That's who I work for. So yeah, my boss kindly gave us the money last year, which didn't actually end up going on a full race season because the engine went bang in the first round, so it kind of went towards that. But hopefully we'll be out next year fighting fit and see what happens.
Are you done for the year now then?
Yeah, we're done. The last race was at Snetterton a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't go in. I didn't want to waste any more money whilst I'm not in the championship, so I thought we'll do some testing over the winter and then see what we can do next year.
Right, hopefully we'll get to see you actually at the track next year, which will be good. But well done on the win, mate. Top job. Thanks for the chat as well. Always a pleasure. Enjoyed that, and I hope Dad sells some cars as a result of our little broadcast.
So do I. Thank you.
Well done, mate. Scott Bugler, race winner. We've got a couple of minutes to go before the next race. Actually, just over a minute to go before the next race. Reverse grid, which now I'm guessing, I'm looking at on the timing screen, Mark Stokes on pole from Sam Walton and John Jones. Kenny Press is next up, and then Alex Walker, and then we've got Daniel Heat in P6, Levi Krishnovska and Thomas Potter 7th and 8th. They could be in the running at the sharp end fairly quickly. Then we've got Harry Ormerod and Andy Dorman. But I'll carry on going down the grid. We've only got 30 seconds to go, so we are into the race. The end of the first lap, incidentally, is at the end of the first minute, is when the pit window opens for the change. The drivers have to change from from one tyre to another. We don't know what we're starting. We don't know what we're change to, but we'll try and keep tabs on that as we go. The timing screen, of course, will tell us when they're doing that. The screen's also telling us that the racing sequence is finally complete, and we'll go out now, and we've got 30 minutes of racing underway. Walton and Stokes on the front row of the grid, and it is Stokes that makes a cracking start. Mark Stokes in the white number 08 car gets away, it goes down into turn one. But this one, remember, they were talking about World Endurance, who've got a couple of cars disappearing off. Kenny Press has had a problem and has dropped all the way down the order. He might have time to make up a little bit more progress as we go. But it's Stokes from Walton, John Jones, then Daniel Heaps in P4. Adam Lyle closer to the front this time. We're used to seeing him at the front. A little bit of contact from second and third place. John Jones, I think, was the result of a little bit of a tap on the back. I've got to say, the first corner skirmishes, Alicia, not as bad as we've seen, but isn't it a great sight seeing all these cars coming through?
Yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely. Oh, you've jinxed them, Richard. You said that too soon. Commentator's curse.
Yeah, always the way.
But no, that was a great start, though, in reality. I mean, these drivers who started at the front might have never even experienced driving at the front of a race before. But we've got a battle for the lead again already now, going ahead.
It must be one of your ambitions to get to the front of a race as well.
Always, I'm dreaming.
So, it's a good number of wins, actually, from this year as well, which was good. And I think single-seaters seem to suit you, or you seem to click with the single-seater straight away.
Absolutely, I love single-seaters. I think it's sort of every kid's wish, really, to drive a single-seater. It's just so cool. It's like a mini Formula One car, so it is a dream come true, and I know how privileged I am to be in the position that I am to be able to race one. Anyway, we've got like 5 wide here. Wow, look at these guys.
Yeah, we have. Eric Axelson in the mix is up into 6th place at the moment, so Eric making progress. It is Adam Lyle in front at the moment from Sam Walton, and then Thomas Potter up onto a potential podium. So Thomas has had a good run off the start. This is again the beauty of the reverse grid racing. Let's see if the Flying Teapot can have a go at position 2 here and start to get some serious points on the board. Eric Axelson makes his way through already. We've got Oliver Gibson up into 6th position, Scott Bugner up into 8th, Jack Smith down in 12th. I didn't quite catch what happened to Jack, but plenty of time with strategy and everything else to put himself up the order and maybe get a quadruple podium interview, because remember, he was on pole position at the start of the meeting. But Eric Axelson there in the D Martin 57 up into 4th place, and now chasing Andy Dorman in P3. Thomas Potter up into 2nd place. There is Andy Dorman in the number 40. Thomas Potter ahead of him, and Adam Lyle making a good job, as he does when he's in this situation and when he's fastest off the front, making great progress and working on that advantage that he's managed to, from the position he's managed to find himself in. Across the line they go, completing 2 laps, Lyle, Potter, Dorman. And this is Eric Axelson. Some people call him the silent assassin because he's always working his way through calmly, cleanly, by and large. I've got to say 90% of the reverse grid races that we've seen him make his way through. Jack Smith there we're focusing on. The yellow mirrors is up into 9th place. So only a couple of laps in, Alicia, and the top boys already doing what they need to do, picking their way through.
Yeah, the order's changing rapidly, though. I'm not sure what just happened to Sam Walton. He just went from 2nd to 7th in the space of a few corners, so I missed what happened there. But potentially a little mistake or push wide or something happened, as we've got more action in the background there now as we speak. But Adam Lyle's made a great start. He's already got a 2.4 second gap to Thomas Potter in 2nd, and he's setting fastest laps along the way. Obviously, he's got clear air, he's got a clear track in front of him to just get his head down and try and be as consistent as possible, which others can't necessarily do. So Oliver Gibson, there's got a purple sector 1 as well, so it's all still to play for, a long way to go yet.
Andy Dorman, that looked a bit like track limits to me, because it was more than the 2 wheels, wasn't it? And we're going 3 wide now, so Thomas Potter is back into P2, but runs a little bit wide. Oh, Thomas, hard lines, mate, still plenty to come from Thomas Potter. In this one, you might have heard the announcement, he's fully intending to join the new Toka Junior Saloons, the Toka Junior Championship next year at the last race. He's not old enough until this time next year, but shaking hands with Graves Motorsport to be able to join that next year, which we look forward to, and how nice it was to see them all at Brands and to be in a position to make that announcement. But Adam Lyon out front from Eric Axelson now in P2 with Oliver Gibson in 3rd place. So Eric was kind of the man that was missing from the equation in that ending that we had for race number 1, but he's here now with Oliver. Jack Smith trying to work his way up as well. He's in behind Scott Bugner. So before we get into pit stops, they're all kind of shaking themselves. It is going to come down to a little bit of a pit strategy here. So interesting times that we are in here. I'm wondering what the strategy is going to be. Would you get the stop over, get off the soft tyre earlier, Alicia?
It's a tricky one because obviously you want to, when you pit and come out of the pits, you obviously want to be in clear air if you can be, but the grid's so close together at the start of the race that there probably isn't a gap for drivers to slot into there once they stop. So it's a very difficult one. If I was Eric, I'd probably stay out at this point, obviously nearly towards the front end of the grid, chasing down for the lead now. So he's best just to try and get a gap, and hopefully the field will spread out a little bit and he can slot in somewhere mid-pack.
I think we might not see the first changes until around about lap 7. I think Rich was saying that the tyre's good for 6 or 7 laps, or I was saying hard, medium tyre, with 23 minutes left clock, as Jack Smith passes Andy Dorman.
Can I just come in here, Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm live as well. Just with regards to the tyres and what they've started on, the viewers at home on the timing tower, the very right-hand column there shows which tyres the guys are on currently. But also, if you've got the live timing screen open as well, the 3rd column on that shows the current tyres that guys are on as well. So we're looking at Adam, Lyle and Eric on mediums, Oliver's on, and Andy Dorman and Jack Smith on softs. Then the next 4 drivers are on mediums as well. So we can keep up to date on what tyres they're on through that.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, the solution was in plain sight of me, and I missed it.
So did I. It's going well.
Thanks for that, Rich. So yeah, okay, so that's pretty cool, isn't it? That we've got all that information there to be able to look at. So Lyle's still out front, medium tyres, as Rich said. Oliver Gibson on the softs up into 3rd place. Andy Dorman also on the soft tyre, as is Jack Smith in 5th position. Scott Bundler on the medium in 6th, so we might expect a slightly longer run as we have a look at Harry Ormerod having a good run here in the Jaeger Bomb. I do love that. It's a real standout, isn't it? And when you get someone that just does the one bright standout colour livery, it can attract in the real world the photographers and the attention of the race fans as well, which is good. Yours was a bit like that in GB4, wasn't it, with the yellow Elite livery?
It was, yeah. I've always run the bog standard Elite Motorsport yellow livery. I did in Ginetta Juniors as well, the same car, and I just think it always looks great. It always stands out and tries to get the commentators' attention, but it doesn't really work with you, Richard, because you never sort of spoke about me, but yeah.
Sorry, who was that? Who said that? And it would be remiss if we didn't mention Prep Tech. They've retired from Ginetta's now, haven't they? Because you were with Prep Tech the first year.
I was with Prep Tech the first year, yeah. That's when you were commentating, wasn't it, with me, and when we were still on the Toka package. But yeah, Prep Tech, not sure what's happening with them now. I think the team's still going to continue, but not as Prep Tech, and Oliver Barnard, the owner, is moving on. Not sure onto what to, but yeah, it was a great year for them this year. Obviously, Henry Jocelyn was at the front of the grid. They've done really well, so they became really strong. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with them in the future.
Yeah, wish him well. Oliver's a good guy and some good folk in the team, and it was nice for me to do a couple of Ginetta events this year. Really enjoyed it. Look, hopefully we'll get back with them again next year with some VRRC meetings as we have a look at Alex Walker down in 18th place at the moment. Olivia Krasnowska down behind him and chasing. There is battling going on, but I think Olivia might have been one of those ones that got caught out with a problem earlier on. They're trying to close down on Harry Ormerod. Jack Smith's down there as well, isn't he? Just seen Jack Smith's name down there. Unless that's a glitch on the timing tower. Jack Smith down in 16th. It's having a bit of a sort out, isn't it, at the minute, which is absolutely fine and dandy. And okay, so that's all right. I think the actual timing screen itself is okay, with Adam Lyle still first from Eric Axelson rather than Harry Ormerod at the top. But Harry, you might want to screenshot that, and then you can tell your sponsors that you were leading the race, which is a pretty cool one. Oliver Gibson in third, and just having a quick check down, still no stoppers at the moment. So 6 laps gone, so we might start to get the softies coming in at the end of the next lap, or maybe very shortly after, and that will then give us the scenario they get on GT racing or endurance racing, which is a sort of the commentary point of view. You end up in no man's land at that kind of point, because you're waiting for the ones that have stopped to catch up with the ones that haven't, or vice versa. We've got it in Fun Cup in a few weeks' time as well, and at the moment we've got the two brothers having a little bit of a battle here, which is good. Timing screen not quite up to speed with that, or playing ball, and now we've got the first of our stoppers. So this should really be Alicia's job. Really, she should be our pit lane reporter here. But as I didn't ask you to do that, I won't throw you in the mix. But we could. I might throw one of our Fiesta Junior drivers under the bus next time when we're commentating, and see how they get on as a pit lane commentator. But we've got the first of the stops underway anyway. Adam Lyle still out front from Eric Axelson. So as we predicted, the guys that are on the soft tyres are the first to make the stops, and they've maybe benefited for some reasonably quick laps as we watch Adam Lyle ahead of Eric Axelson, 6th and 7th, 1st and 2nd, 5th and 6th on the timing screen at the moment, but P1 and P2 in the race. So race leader and second position. Eric Axelson trying to close in. Eric's best lap 1:26.7, couple of tenths on his best tour, a couple of tenths better than Adam Lyle out front, and then Scott Bugner in P3. Scott lapping in the 1:26.7s as well. So again, slightly quicker than Adam Lyle, running in a good, strong third position at the moment, with Josh Martin up into P4. Josh is always good for a little bit of a shout as Eric Axelson closes in. Are we going to see Eric bag a lead at some point? So I was just thinking to myself about how many laps. If the softs are good for 6 or 7 laps, at what point timing-wise would that mean that Eric and Adam Lyle will pit? Because let's have a quick look at the clock. We are 17 minutes remaining, so I suppose it's about a third, is it, of the race, because we had 20, started at 30 down to, yeah, difficult to say. So it's going to be strategy, isn't it, for these two? But Eric Axelson trying to close in. And I was going to ask, maybe this is where Rich can come in and give me a little bit of advice, if that's possible. I didn't get to ask Scott Bugner because we ran out of time. Scott alluded to problems that he had in the test races with pit stops. What can go wrong for the drivers in the VRRC pits?
So I guess there's a couple of things that can go wrong. You set your you have 3 different pit strategies that you can set, and as you enter the pits, you can pick one of those strategies to implement when you stop. So actually making sure you set those 3 strategies and save them to your setup. That's the first thing that sometimes goes adrift with drivers, where they forget to save the pit stop strategy as part of their car setup. The second thing is coming into your pit box. There's a red pit box for the drivers to stop in. It's very easy to overshoot that. So that's kind of the second thing that can happen. If they overshoot it, generally they just need to reverse back into the pit slot. So, which obviously wastes a bit more time. So they're the 2 main problems that they have.
Okay, thanks for that. It's interesting that they can. So, no doubt, is there a facility to to practice that as much as they do their laps?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so they can absolutely. They can test that within the practice sessions. We also normally do 2 or 3 test races before the championship starts. So, sorry, test rounds rather than races.
Yeah.
And that gives them the opportunity to test it there as well. So it gives them the opportunity. They can do it solo, offline, in their own practice sessions. They can do it in the online practice sessions that we do. So they've got the opportunity to practice, put it like that.
Nice one. Thanks very much for that, Rich. I'm going to throw Alicia back in time now. Do you remember Lawrence Tomlinson used to say things like, Eric Axelson's looking really racy now?
God, I thought he was here then, Richard. That was really good, that.
I'm not sure Lawrence would thank me for that, but that was one of the... Lawrence, probably when you were about 3, he used to come and commentate with us at ITV until somebody got the ump that the managing director of the company that was on track was... It was probably a little bit of a conflict, having the MD. I thought he did a great job, actually. It was good fun. But he is, isn't he? He's having a go, Eric, here. And look at that. He's managed to find a little bit of a gap. And it is just about an Eric Axelson-sized gap as we go to our drone shot. And he's going to make it through. He's done it. Eric Axelson into the lead. That was well thought out, wasn't it?
Absolutely, it was, yes. Sorry, I'm missing the on-track action. I'm too busy. I've got my head in the lap times. Jack Smith
That's
absolutely nailed the timing of his pit stop when he came in. He came out with a 4-second gap to the car in front. And his sectors, he's been consistently 4-5 tenths up in sector 1, a tenth up in sector 2 on Eric and Adam. So it'll be interesting when those two pit as to where they come out in comparison to Jack. But obviously they'll then be stopping onto the soft, so they should be quicker towards the end of the race. So I think it's going to be quite a tight, close ending, really.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? Eric Axelson certainly doing all that he needs at the moment to be out front with Adam Lyle, Peter. Again, good stuff from Adam Lyle. Scott Bugler, hello. It's always an open door policy here at VRRC. Normally get groan, but we got a little chuckle. But yeah, so and of course it would have to be Josh Martin, wouldn't it, with the door open? How does that happen? It's real life, isn't it? Something has happened that he was the one talking about handbrakes. Can we see his handbrake? Is that working as well? So yeah, Josh Martin, great character. We will at some point get to chat to him over the course of the season, because he is the sort of guy that's going to make it up onto the podium as we watch Jack Smith, who is having a good run. He's actually in 6th place now, ahead of Lee Pearcey. So it's Lee Pearcey immediately behind him. John Jones down behind him, but you can see Jack Smith has, as Alicia said, that was a great spot, Alicia, that come out onto clear track, so he can make a good run here, and he's significantly the top driver that has been in the pit. So 6th position, and the top stopper so far is Jack Smith. So is he going to be able to nail another win? And the poor lad gets interviewed 4 times by me, unless I can persuade Alicia to do a podium interview.
I think, no, that's not happening, Richard, sorry. But, in other news, I think Oliver Gibson hasn't been as lucky with his timing of his pit stop. He was obviously right behind Jack when he came into the pits, and he's now, I think, about 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds behind Jack now in 9th position. So he's been held up a lot more with the traffic than Jack has. He managed to clear it. Jack did, just got straight through. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, as I say, when Eric and Adam pit, see what the order is then.
Andy Dorman's pitted as well. So too has Harry Ormerod. With Daniel Heaps has done the business as well. John Jones, Mark Stokes, they've been in too, so we can expect them to make up a little bit of time as we go on. We've got 12 minutes remaining on the clock, so just over half distance into this race. And Oliver Gibson busy, just giving a little bit of hassle at the moment to Thomas Potter. I'll give a shout out to Thomas's anti-bullying campaign. It's a super initiative that he does, and fully applaud it, fully behind it. I actually did the sign off for the last of our Motorsport UK programmes today. I'm thinking of a great move there, by the way, but Thomas Potter's back on the inside. I'm thinking of Thomas and the campaign when I say at the end of each programme, be nice to each other, and I tend to use it as a sign off a fair amount now as Thomas Potter comes into the pits as well. So well done, Thomas, for the great work that he's doing on that campaign. So Paul Araby working hard. Wondering how much more physical these races are. I mean, you heard when we were talking to Jack Smith earlier on about, they're used to the endurance races, and my commentating colleague Andy McEwen, he doesn't like half-hour endurance. He doesn't think it is, but in VRRC terms, of course it is, and he lets that go. Does Andy, bless him. Looking forward to seeing him this weekend up at Silverstone for the VRSEC finals with TCR. Sorry, Rich?
I was just saying, tell Andy that I miss him.
I will do. I feel really guilty because I'm kind of sort of doing all his stuff, but he assures me that I haven't nicked it, but I'm certainly not the intention.
No, he was no longer available on Wednesday nights because of his real life job. So we miss him, but yeah, say hello from us.
I will.
Does that mean that Richard, you were second best then to Andy for this?
Very definitely, absolutely. Andy's a brilliant commentator. Yeah.
Sorry.
Commentary. You got the measure of me, girl. So yeah, absolutely right. I'm lost for words now. Is that bullying? Can we alert Thomas to that? Is that a bit of
Oh no. Sorry.
No, not at all. Yeah, you know, I'm very, very happy to get a bit of banter going at some point. So that's good. So where is Thomas at the moment? Let's just look down challenging Harry or Ormerod for 11th place. So Harry has had his stop, very nearly up in the top 10. So Thomas now challenging for that. We've still got a few drivers ahead of them that haven't had their stop yet. So Thomas Potter and Harry Ormerod having a good race of things at the moment. And up ahead of them, it's Andy Dorman, who of course was our early leader. And don't be surprised if Andy Dorman takes a win in the championship at some point. Eric Axelson, though, still our race leader.
Adam and Eric are in the pits now. They've both just come in and stopped, so that will be interesting.
A little bit glitchy here, so we'll carry on as best we can. It's Chris Blakey now showing at the top of the timing screen. Chris, of course, hasn't had the stop as yet. Eric Axelson in the pit still showing as second place. That will alter as the cars have completed the stop. Adam Lyle still in third. Jack Smith, though, as Alicia pointed out, up into was fourth position. Now as he goes round with the other cars pitting, up into third place. And I'm guessing may well, Alicia, pass Eric Axelson and Chris Blakey to take the lead of this race, which we will rejoin as soon as we are able to. But Jack Smith, with that fastest lap of the race so far, 126.3. Will that be bettered now or not? I don't know. Eric Axelson now is on the softs, having had his stop and has come out. So it'll be interesting to see whereabouts he is on track. We'll try and look at the track graphic, actually. Eric is just making his way around turn 9, turn 10. And Jack Smith is, I reckon, probably a couple of seconds down behind him. But Chris Blakey, the leader, who hasn't had his stop yet, there is Eric Axelson. So use the golfing terminology, the leader in the clubhouse, I suppose we could say technically, is Chris Blakey now. The leader comes in, one of the last drivers that needs to stop. Lee Pearcey's got to have a stop as well. And Eric Axelson will take the lead here. So this has played out well for Eric, but he's on the soft tyre as we go into effectively his second stint of the race with 7 minutes on the clock. So who do you reckon has played the best tactic here tyre-wise? Is it Eric moving from medium to soft and pitting later, or Jack Smith with the early one? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think it's played out very well for Eric. Obviously, he's got a 4-second gap out in front ahead of Jack, which is more than I actually thought it would be. But it just shows that even though Jack did have clear air when he came out the pits, he was still impacted by the little bit of traffic that he did get, which has obviously created that 4-second gap that he now has to Eric. And obviously, Eric now being on the soft, you'd have thought he should have the upper hand in terms of pace. And I think he's timed it nicely as well. We've got just under 7 minutes left on the clock, so the tyre life should be okay. He shouldn't really drop off towards the end. So I think unless anything happens, I think it's looking good for Eric. We've got purple sector 1 straight away, just to confirm what I've just been saying. So yeah, it's looking good for Eric. It'll be interesting really now to see if Adam can close in on, so that'll be a battle to keep an eye on.
Sure, yeah, and Jack had that a little bit more traffic, didn't he, in the early stages of race 1. Maybe the traffic didn't fall so well. At the moment, we're not watching the battle for third place between Scott Bugner and Adam Lyle. So Scott is the chaser. Remember, Sprint Race 2 winner is all over the back of Adam Lyle. What a cracking race we got here. And Scott saying in his interview that he probably prefers being the chaser, and he's got a race on his hands here, considering he said he's not that comfortable with rear-wheel drive. He's done a super job today, and just avoided saying this weekend. Goes for the big burn up around the outside. Doesn't quite work. Is he going to be able to get a cut back? No, he's just going to have to explore a different way as they head down into Castrol Omega once again. This tight, can we call that hairpin? Fairly sweeping hairpin. Is it probably not quite tight enough to call it thus? They now go into Sternquell, turn 6, down through Carthalum, turn 7, probably pronouncing them totally wrong, and then down towards the big runoff here at turn 8. How's your German pronunciation? Did you do German at school?
No, I didn't. I did Spanish, and I got a B actually. It was pretty good, but I forgot that now. That was a long time ago. It wasn't quite as long ago as when you did yours, but it's a long time ago. I can't remember anything, so don't ask me.
So we need to get you back for a Spanish round then. So World Endurance League Barcelona, so you can get the corner lanes right for us.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. Can you still hear me? My AirPods have just died.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, we can still hear you. But then you can't
That's
hear us
great.
saying we can still hear you.
Oh, that's perfect. And I wasn't listening to you, Richard. Sorry. So I've got no idea what you just said.
You never do anyway. Never listen to me anyway. So, yeah, Adam Lyle, this is a good third-place battle, isn't it? Eric's still clear at the moment of Jack Smith in P2, with Adam Lyle and Scott Bugner having a super race of things as we pick up on Chris Blakey. I think everybody has now stopped. Remember, they didn't need to do the stops until the very last lap, but in essence, of course, they will do because they want the best out of whatever tyres they're doing, so they're not going to leave it to the last lap. But had they forgotten or had they had issues, they wouldn't have had to do that. Jack Smith in P2, then what can he do to close down? Adam Lyle was seen off Scott Bugner for the moment. Scott might be having a little bit of a breather here, just trying to work out. He can get close enough, but he just can't work out a strategy. And again, sorry to bombard you with silly questions. That is always my forte, Alicia. Are there moments in a race when it's long enough that you take a breather, you drop back and you rethink your strategy?
Sort of. I suppose there can be, yes. But then again, when you've got all the adrenaline going, all the adrenaline rush, you're just so focused and concentrating on the job that you're doing, it's very difficult to look at the bigger picture and think about other strategies and other things that you can potentially do. So I'd imagine it's just full send from all of the drivers at this point, to be honest.
And without wanting to raise the gender issue, is that not the case then? You can't multitask?
No comment.
So Alex Walker now in the mix as well, and Alex closing up on Daniel Heaps. He's had a good one, had some good coverage as Daniel. And let's have a look and see whether the number 4 car can get in. Little mistake, runs wide, goes over the gravel. When I say a little mistake like that, Paul O'Neill usually jumps in and goes, that was a big one, rather than a small one. I can't do the voice. Oh dear, and a big sideways moment. Drifting
That's
Championships. Yeah, that was a big one. The Drifting Championships next week, by the way. So, actually, no, it isn't, in case anyone wants to sign up for that. As Jack Smith has a wide moment in 15, still running in second position. So Eric Axelson is away and down the road at the moment, with a 5-second gap from so Eric Axelson out front, 5-second gap or so from Jack Smith in P2. Adam Lyle still in P3. Scott Bugner 4th, Oliver Gibson in 5th, Chris Blakey 6th, Andy Dorman 7th. From Thomas Potter inside the top 10, Lee Pearcey is in 9th, and Harry Ormerod in 10th, with Livia Krasnovska in 11th place, ahead of Josh Martin. I say, wherever you look, there are podium drivers right the way down the order, potentially, in this one. And we have 1 minute 44 to go. Where's this race gone? It's gone pretty quickly. It's probably dragged for you, though, Alicia, being on comms with me.
Well, I didn't want to say anything, but I think, funnily enough, it's just changed just as I'm about to say it, but Scott's dropped back from Adam and Lyle a little bit now for the battle for third and fourth, but I think that little bit of a distraction when Scott was trying to overtake Adam for third has probably helped Jack Smith a lot, because obviously Adam being on the softs, you'd expect him to be quite a bit quicker, and I was expecting him to chase down and potentially challenge for second from Jack, but that distraction's obviously slowed him down a little bit from behind, and that's, I don't want to say gifted Jack a P2, but it's definitely helped it make his life a little bit easier for that second place.
Yeah, you're right, I think, there. What's going to happen to... Oh, hello, Thomas Potter. I'm sure he was out on track a minute ago, just having a race, was Thomas Potter. And that is him, isn't it, in the pit lanes. We go back to Eric Axelsen, our race leader. So we could be in the excellent position, I think, of having 3 different race winners, which is what you want, isn't it, from a championship. It's not what the individual drivers want. It will be great, and I'll probably totally contradict myself later on in the season when I go, isn't it marvellous that we've got a hat-trick winner? But uphill goes Eric Axelsen. I'll just see the positives in everything. That's the key thing. Eric Axelsen across the line, 25 seconds to go, and on to the last lap. On this superbly uphill, and pretty much around about 2/3 the length of the straight here over Jack Smith, but we've seen battles, Alicia, which has been quite good, but I think Eric has probably thought this one through, didn't he, with his strategy?
Eric's played it perfectly, absolutely, and it's very difficult to know, obviously, while you're driving. Obviously, with the most endurance races, you've got a big team behind you, and you've got strategists and radios and people, engineers in your ears, sort of looking at the gaps and telling you when to stop. So for a driver to do it all by themselves, he's judged it very, very well. And he's been very consistent as well. He's got the fastest lap of the race with a 26 dead, but his last lap was a 26.6, which obviously those tyres are getting a lot older now, but still he's the only one in the 26 of the whole in the 26s from the whole grid. So he's done a very, very good job and deserves the win.
Yeah, he's done well. As in 26.019. Jack Smith 126.248, and Eric Axelsen. Yeah, great. Always, and potentially here we're going to get another new name on the podium. Adam Lyle still ahead of Scott Bugner, as you mentioned. That was done, but the last few corners for Eric Axelsen, who will add not only another podium but a win to the proceedings for him. Will cross the line now and take the win. So Eric Axelsen takes the checkered flag with Jack Smith in P2. Third position is going to go to Adam Lyle, a wee bit further back, but Adam Lyle, Jack Smith, by the way, the first of the runners, of course, as Alicia said, on the medium tyre. It's softs first and third. Adam Lyle on the soft in third place. Fourth place goes to Scott Bugner from Oliver Gibson. Chris Blakey will come home for sixth position from Andy Dorman, who'll be next across the line. Andy, of course, one of our early leaders in that reverse grid race. Oh, it's one of our cameramen. It's a very old style camera they've got there, isn't it? On the bank, looks like one of the Digitex cameras. Only joking, Barry, if you're watching. Andy Dorman seventh, crosses the line now. Lee Pearcey is going to be next across the line, but there is our winner, Eric Axelsen. Lee Pearcey just going across the line now. We'll then check in the top 10 before we head to the ad break. Ninth position goes to Harry Ormerod. Great race from him, and our top 10 completed by Olivia Krishnovska. Well done, Olivia, wrapping up our top 10. We'll be having a word with our top 3 from the race after this advert. So welcome back, and well, That's gone really quickly for me today, I've got to say. And we get to do another interview, which is really good. Third position in our feature race goes to Adam Lyle. Adam, well done. Cracking race, mate. How are you?
I'm knackered. that was hard after having a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, and 3 races, because you've got, a lot of energy can get sort of spent on, or mental energy can get spent on build-up, and then obviously you've got the physical energy of the actual races as well. So to do that 3 times, a bit of an ask for you all.
Yeah, it's not much longer than the 2 races before, but I don't know, just seem to doing the extra 5 minutes as I think this race and the last championship. Just seems to knacker me out that last few minutes.
Enjoy it, though?
Well, yeah, I'm on the podium, so I guess so.
You're always on the podium. We always catch up with you at some point, which is really good. So, thoughts on the format, though?
Yeah, I liked it. I just didn't do myself any favours in the first 2 races.
Right, yeah, so we normally see you a little bit higher up, but you put that to rights. Better to go away with a positive, though, surely.
Yeah, definitely. I managed to get a good launch off that one. I think I started 10th. I think by the end of the lap, I took first. So I managed to just get away in that one, at least.
And Scott had a go at you in sort of half distance to about 2/3 distance, but you managed to see him off.
Yeah, I noticed he'd boxed a bit earlier than me. And I knew my tyres were going, so I thought, oh, is it going to be going? So if I can hold him off, I think he'll just die that bit earlier, which I think they must have done, because I ended up about 2 seconds or something, I think, in the end.
How easy is it to work out a strategy? I mean, what are your pros and cons of going with either type of tyre first, and then when you're going to pit?
I don't know. I just took a gamble with this one. Because the tyres have changed slightly. I've only done about 7-8 laps or something on the mediums.
Right.
So I didn't have a clue how long they'd go in that. But obviously, it just seemed to work.
Excellent. Really good. Glad you made the podium. Added some nice variation to interviews over the course of our first event. Look forward to seeing you on the remaining 7, actually remaining 6, because I can't do one, so you'll get a break from me, which is a bit of a bonus for you guys. But Adam Lyle, well done on P3. Great to chat to you again.
Thank you.
So Adam Lyle P3, and another one, glutton for punishment in terms of interviews, is Jack Smith. I was going to try and get Alicia to interview Jack, but she's not quite got the confidence to do that yet. But 4 out of 4 podiums, or interviews, which is good. And we thought, and Alicia thought, timed your stop well, came out in a nice gap. P2 though, not too shabby, mate.
Yeah, not too bad at all. I think Eric had the better strategy there. I don't know whether Eric actually went on softs in the end, but I think that was the better strategy, because I got caught in some ridiculous incidents in that second stint. I think I don't know who it was in front of me, but they came together, and then I think it was me and Lee Piercy, I believe. We both got involved in that. Like, I ended up having front to rear contact, just could not go anywhere. So I think must have lost maybe 5 seconds ish, something like that, which is pretty much exactly the gap to Eric. So I'm just like, what could have been? But yeah, it is what it is. The race was really good. The pace on the really warm mediums at the end was really, really good. I was really surprised at that. I don't know how they kept on going with the times they were doing, but yeah, it was ridiculous. We're doing 26.2s. If I didn't send it off, which I usually did on the final stint trying to catch Eric, but yeah, it was a good last stint. But yeah, I'm not sure how I overtook Ollie in the pit stops. Must have been a really, really good stop by my boys, but yeah, it was really good race and a great effort, I think. So yeah, really happy.
I think we'll have to examine the pit stops or talk about more about how they're working. Not examine it as in a judicial sense, but just see how they pan out and stuff like that, and get to grips with it a little bit more as we go. But a decent start to the campaign. It's going to be an exciting series, isn't it?
Yeah, coming away 58. I think that's 3 ahead of Eric. So yeah, it's going to be.
You drivers always tell me you never look at the points, but I know you do, and you did.
I'm a stats guy. I do like spreadsheets and everything before races, and as Rich knows. So
I know everyone probably wants to get away, but I was going to say, Alicia remembers you from Simtrack. So do you
Yeah,
remember
I was
Alicia
going to
from
bring it
Simtrack?
up. Yeah, I was going to bring it up. She came over when we did the. I think you did the media training day.
Yeah, it was years ago, Jack, wasn't it? It was like
Yeah.
2020, I think, 2021. But
Yeah,
yeah.
well, this was when Alicia came to Simtrack before she won the scholarship. So yeah, I can put my hat in that that claim there that we helped Alicia to win the scholarship.
That's pretty good. Is that the one that
Yeah,
Louise
thanks,
done?
Jack.
Louise used to do
Yeah.
the media of those ones, didn't she? Lou Goodman does the
Yeah,
one.
Louise Goodman.
You didn't
yeah.
tell me. I thought Jake had done your media training, Alicia.
I didn't actually have media training. Jack stitched me up. I didn't. I
thought you
just
did.
went for a sim session, yeah, with you guys. Yeah.
Oh, I can barely remember, but
I
yeah.
thought Jake Sanson had helped you out at one point.
Not really, no, not with media training, just with some PR stuff, just social media stuff, but not actually
Ah,
media training, no.
There we go.
Yeah, we had
we
so
go.
many
Anyway,
coming in for the media training. It's but yeah.
it's great. It does help, and I've haven't delivered much for a while, and I tend to push people onto his government. But if people are going into the real world, I'd recommend it, and I'd recommend it having a catch up as well with different people, because it's like going in the gym. You have to keep doing it, but not as often as going in the gym with the media. Once every couple of years is probably a good thing. But Jack, well done, mate. Congratulations on you. Stole me thunder there, saying about the Championship League as well. We'll do that a bit later on, but that's not a problem. It's great to chat to you. Well done on a great day. And we'll catch up with you virtually at Hockenheim, isn't it, round 2? So next time, so we'll move on to that. Well done, Jack. Been a pleasure.
Cool. Thank you. Cheers, Richard.
And we're talking of always a pleasure to chat to anybody on the podium, VRRC, and our winner. Congratulations, Eric Axelson. Well done, Eric.
Thank you, Richard.
Enjoy that?
Yeah, that was good. That was good. My race 2 wasn't. I had a terrible start in race 2, so I lost a few positions there, and I don't know where I ended up, like 8th or 7th or something like that.
Yeah.
I had a great start in the feature race. Just after like a few laps, I found myself in P2, quite far back from Adam, so I was clear from traffic and could put some fast laps in on the mediums. So yeah, that was good.
I love the way you sort of, very modestly say found yourself in P2, but it's your driving and your strategy that gets you there. And that's kind of, it's the mixture. It's everything, isn't it, in racing? And here it is strategy and driving and great strategy that's going to get you to the top. So I appreciate you being modest, but it was a great race from you. Very, very well done. How do you? A question I asked Adam was, how do you work out your strategy, and does it take a long time to sort of work out what tyre you're going to go on for and how long for, and when you're going to pit?
So you have to test the life of the tires and where the crossover is between the tires and the times.
Yeah.
Yes. And I found out that the softs, they're on this track. They're fast for 7-8 laps, and then they start to go off quite quickly, and they become quite unpredictable.
Oh.
So I was aiming to do 7 or maybe 8 laps on the softs in the end. So I think I kept to that. So I think I did 7 laps in the end. So yeah, strategy worked out well. Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. Great weekend. I'm loving being back with you all. Congratulations on the win, and I look forward to catching up with you in 2 weeks' time on Hockenheim. Eric Axelson, our winner of the feature race. Well done.
Thank you, Richard.
So that's our interviews. Well done, everybody. Everyone that's taken part today, alphabetically, first name wise, Adam Lyle down to Thomas Potter. Absolutely super job from everyone. Alicia, thank you so much for joining us. A real pleasure. And I hope that you can. I know you can't join us for any other rounds, as you've got big things happening, which we look forward to hearing about. But please come back as a guest racer or guest commentator again. How have you found it?
Yeah, I've loved it. Thanks, Richard. It's been a great opportunity, and I hope it wasn't too painful for you and everybody listening. But no, it's been absolutely great. So thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. Give our best wishes to your mum and dad as well, and everybody at Elite if you see them. And keep us posted on what you're doing. And as I say, we'd be really, really grateful if you come back and see us again. I know it'll be exciting for the viewers. For you to do
100%. I'd
that.
love to. Yeah, I'll be back.
Thanks ever so much. So look forward to that one. If you are watching and wondering who's going to be joining us next time, should we make the announcement?
Chip off because I'm on.
In a couple of weeks' time. Henry Foote from the Fiesta Junior Championship. If you're not acquainted with Henry, join us on the VRRC live stream on Sunday. He'll be there racing in the Fiesta Junior Championship. Really excited. Henry's a great up-and-coming racer like Alicia, so look forward to seeing him there. Next round at Hockenheim. Please join us in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for your company today. As I always say, as you heard, be nice to each other. Take care. From Rich Hayden, all the VRRC drivers and team, thanks for watching and bye for now.